Hi everybody, Ahmad Sadiq from Land Trust Title of Central Florida. Let's talk title. Today, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about what title companies are generally going to be looking for when we're dealing with a sale of property that's happened after a divorce. And in particular, the title underwriters within the context of our title search are going to be looking for the marital settlement agreement and the divorce decree. The divorce decree is the document that ultimately terminates that marriage legally, and the marital settlement agreement is an agreement between the prior ex-spouses that tells us how any assets or properties or liabilities that they have are going to be dispersed between the two spouses. And so when we're dealing with the sale of a property that is discussed within the marital settlement agreement, the title company is going to request to see that marital settlement agreement, and will ultimately have to provide that to their underwriter to make sure that the property is being sold within the context of how the court has ordered it and how the parties have agreed at the time of the divorce. In particular, what's important to note is that if the marital settlement agreement asks the parties to do certain things, those things have to be done before the property can be sold. So an example will be if two spouses are getting divorced, they've received the divorce decree and the marital settlement agreement, and the court says that spouse A is going to execute documents so that spouse B will have title to the property that's now being sold and with the title company. And what that ultimately means is that spouse A has to execute a quitclaim deed to move that title over to spouse B. We can't assume that everyone is okay with it. So if we get a transaction and that quitclaim deed hasn't happened, that's going to be required for closing. Even if the divorce decree is there and the marital settlement agreement says that the intent of the parties is to move the ownership of that property from spouse A to spouse B, all those steps that the court's requiring or the parties agreed to have to happen in order for us to be able to clear title and convey the property from the seller to the buyer. So it's going to be important that when you're dealing with clients who are selling property as a result of or after a divorce, that you prepare them to say the documents that you're going to need to provide to the title company are probably going to include the divorce decree and the marital settlement agreement. And by the way, make sure that all the things that you agreed to in that marital settlement agreement are done before the property is under contract, so we don't deal with any kind of unnecessary delays, because that is going to be a requirement to clear title. So just something to keep in mind when you're talking to your sellers. Guys, see you next time.